Home Affairs Minister K Shanmugam says the pandemic has made terrorists more adept at going online to recruit and radicalise people. Well, that's as COVID-19 has hindered travel between countries. In an exclusive interview, he says a key plank of Singapore's fight against terrorism is ensuring everyone has a place in a society, regardless of race and religion. Alif Amshar has more as Singapore marks 20 years since terrorist plots by Jama'ah Islamiyah were uncovered.
How has Singapore been preparing itself for the threats over the last 20 years and to keep pace with emerging threats?
After 9/11, we mobilized the community, particularly the Muslim community, because that related to a number of Muslims who wanted to, who had been radicalized and who wanted to use violent means with a misunderstanding of Islam. And the community came forward, the Islamic scholars, the Religious Rehabilitation Group, which was a ground-up movement. They spoke with the detainees, and many of them over time renounced violence, understood the true path of Islam. From 2015 onwards, so what you saw is attacks in places that people visit, supermarkets, football stadiums, malls. So government formed a series of response teams, rapid deployment on motorbikes, emergency response teams. Our Gurkha forces were upgraded, training methods were different, and you would see this heavily armed police officers doing foot patrols. We also had the SG Secure movement, where we tried to get every household to have some understanding, and if something happens, what can they do in an emergency?
For the emerging threats that are difficult to identify, is there a need to transform rehabilitation efforts that are currently existing?
I think the rehabilitation efforts are a key part. There are different parts to this. First, we need to make sure that as a community, multi-racial, multi-religious community, we have harmony, that people understand each other and go beyond toleration, appreciate each other, and we support each other. We have freedom of religion that's guaranteed, and we must continue to make sure majority or minority, everybody can follow their faith. Third, we need to encourage where we see pockets of radicalization or extremism, we need to deal with it in the first place through the mind and the heart. That means having the community play a role in getting people to understand the religion better. And then also having an internal security department that's on top of its game, as it has been, to be very sharp, have the right networks, and pick up those who are potentially at risk.
The Taliban has regained power in Afghanistan after 20 years. What impact does that have on the global fight against terror?
The last time the Taliban were in control in Afghanistan, they were a magnet for would-be terrorists, get training, work with battle-hardened fighters, pick up tactical training tips, and then come back out to attack their own countries or different countries. We have had Singaporeans, very small number, going off to Afghanistan for training. Well, the risk is that that might happen again. So it is a situation we are watching very closely.
Is there much international cooperation in dealing with terrorism, and who are Singapore's key partners?
Without international cooperation, it's very difficult to do this, because terrorists not just based in Singapore. Many do their planning from overseas, and they have crossed national connections. Our internal security department, as well as police force, has got very good links with Malaysia, with Indonesia, with Thailand, regional countries, Australia. And further afield, we also cooperate with countries from Asia as well as Europe, the Americans. We exchange information, and that has been very helpful for them as well as for us.